I'm not surprised these Mizuno drivers are already being panic sold. However, let me explain why this could all be very good news for some of you watching. Without a shadow of a doubt, Mizuno gets the award for the most confusing lineup year after year. STX, STZ, 220, 230, 200, the list goes on, and I want to help you in this video navigate the algorithm that is Mizuno's Woods lineup, but with a test at the end show that Mizuno wasn't quite the manufacturer that it used to be, and with a few tweaks here and there with the shaft and loft combination, one of these drivers is breathtakingly efficient, and to be honest, going into 2025, I can't see it being worth more than £200. And I know that because this whole journey started with confusion right from the start. Because as I was scrolling through Flyer, I saw the STZ, the neutral stable, your run-of-the-mill hedge 230 that came out in 2023 for around £180. And I was thinking, hasn't that thing just come out? Then I did some digging and I realized that actually these two are joining that series, or did join that series, and both these came out earlier this year. The very forgiving high MOI version, and then the STG that, let's be honest, looked like it came out in 2021. And I'll show you the full current lineup, which should be replaced in 2025, as that's Mizuno's 2-year cycle. No wonder if you're scrolling through eBay, you have no idea what you're actually bidding on. Which brings us on to reason number 2. Nothing feels quite like Mizuno. Well, that's what they say when it comes to the irons anyway. My issue with Mizuno in the past is that it tried to compete way too much with Callaway and TaylorMade for the low spin category, and especially with them pricing it near on the same as the two big competitors. And personally, for me, that tactic works if you have some of the longest hitters in the world using your driver at the time. For example, your Tiger, your McIlroy, your John Rahm, your DJ. Because don't get me wrong, this rather confusing 230G Mizuno driver can definitely get it out there. Not to mention this 2-track system at the back here with a 440cc head definitely makes it for that player's player. I'm not too sure whether they designed this head to make this sound, but it almost makes a bird call as you swing past the ball. My point is, personally for me, yes, this does the job. But here's the crucial point and what you want to follow next. This is what Mizuno used to do all the time, and I feel like it never succeeded because it couldn't beat the competition with this typical head style. Whether you put that down to branding, marketing, looks, stereotype, you name it. This, on the other hand, is something I really feel they should be focusing more on. One of the reasons Ping does so well as a manufacturer is that it doesn't rely on tour pros using it, picking it up and going, Jesus, that is easy to hit. It relies on Dave taking a chance at the Mizuno Golf Day, picking this thing up and going, oh my God, I got it up in the air. And this thing right here, which I'm about to show you in the second test, is arguably going to be one of my best value picks, I think, going forward in 2025. Because even with numbers that aren't that favorable, we came over the top, for example, didn't necessarily launch the ball that high, but this light flex, 10.5 degree, high MOI driver, was able to punt the thing 213 yards. And it gets better, especially as I start swinging this club faster. Bearing in mind, I'm still going to keep it in the light flex and 10.5 degree loft at the moment. And that is to prove a point that Mizuno drivers have changed from what used to look like this on the right-hand side and sound very similar to something like this on the right-hand side to something like this that looks good, sounds good, performs very well considering the whole market is going more to the forgiveness side of our game. And the best bit is, Mizuno in my eyes marketed it so poorly, no one actually knows that the thing even exists. Okay, I'm gonna have to take it out the light flex shaft to show you my final appeal for this driver in the test at the end. But light flex shaft, A flex, senior flex, you name it, 10.5 degree, this thing sounds better than anything I've tried from Mizuno. And for me, just like the 10K from Ping, the QI10 from TaylorMade, it's able to have this forgiveness high launch head and still produce relatively low spin, even at those kind of numbers. However, there's a reason why it keeps going left, and it's because I've got this whippy shaft in it. I'm gonna hit 5 shots with the STG. It is a very low spin head. It's gonna appeal to quite a small percentage of you. However, I wanna show you what the max is actually achievable at high speeds. This right here is what I remember Mizuno known for, and there's a reason why I think too many amateur golfers never picked up the thing. You're either TaylorMade or you're a Ping G400 Max. That right there is some pretty normal numbers from myself. Probably a bit low on the launch angle. That's probably because even with the weights all the way back there, the CG is going to be a lot closer to the face than obviously what the 230 Max will be. I must say at this point, I've just got a standard 60 gram stiff flex shaft. But 292 carry, 315 total. And to be honest, when it comes to dispersion, that's about right. This kind of block out to the right-hand side, and then, well, 30% this duck hook out to the left-hand side. However, I want to prove to you guys that the game has moved on. The ball has changed in our game. Shafts have changed in our game. Technology has changed in our game. And don't get me wrong, these high MOI, high forgiving drivers, if they lost every golf for 25 yards, no one's going to be buying them. And of course, at my particular speed, I'd be at the STZ, which would be in the middle of these two very confusing models of driver. However, as a little, let's say, warm-up test, that was still a bit fast at 103. Let me just slow it down a touch. That was a bit better. Just under 100 miles an hour, 240 carry, 260 total. I mean, they are incredibly efficient numbers. 13 launch, 2.2. Let's be honest, that's going to be the high end of amateur golfers out there that can use a high MOI head and still get great distance from it. So let's hit 5 more and talk about price. Again, one of the things I feel like held Mizuno back for majority of these years is them pricing it the exact same as the big end drivers, which, let's be honest, as I'm showing you this video, hold their price better. You buy a Ping at G430 10K, 2 years later, it's still gonna be worth £300 second hand. As I'm showing you this now, I mean, a lot of the STZs and STXs, granted, they're obviously now 2 years old, are going for well under £200. Hang on 1 minute, let me sort my driver out. Let me focus, 1 second. I mean, when it hits £150 second hand, I might as well just buy all of them and just fit them in and out my studio. Virtually same shot pattern. If anything, the ST Max, when caught well, went slightly further straight. Tiny bit more launch and a tiny bit more spin, which, let's be honest, we were expecting from this particular head style. But when you have to trade in forgiveness, confidence, I mean, look at how wide that face is compared to something like this. I mean, that's unmeasurable how much difference is going to make on a golf course for so many of us. And just so you can see, I swung them virtually the same speed. And my point is, at my ball speed, if I can achieve these numbers, which is what we're kind of aiming for, so can you, even if you're a tiny bit slower, giving you a good amount of launch, carry, and then obviously total distance. Hopefully next year, Mizuno release a cohesive, well-structured driver lineup when it comes to branding and marketing, as they certainly have done a good job in terms of performance and technology. The upside, if they don't, it means that we get very good value second-hand equipment in 2026. Guys, if you've got any questions on your golf bag or golf game, sasgolfacademy.com. Catch you guys later.